U.S. military is hammering ISIS so heavily it is running out of bombs. The U.S. is hitting so many ICE targets in Iraq and Syria that it is running out of bombs, and that could affect its ability to wage war in North Korea, warns a senior U.S. admiral. As Donald Trump celebrated his 100 days in power yesterday, U.S. Pacific Commander Admiral Harry Harris said so many bombs were being dropped that, quote, "we need more." It comes as dictator Kim Jong-un defied international pressure to test fire another missile yesterday, just hours after U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson warned that failure to curb his nuclear and ballistic missiles programs could lead to, quote, "catastrophic consequences." While the U.S. is pushing for harsher sanctions against the police state, President Trump warned a, quote, major conflict was possible as tensions mount. If he sanctions a regime change, however, it would mean a large-scale war in which the U.S. and South Korea would, quote, "throw everything it had," experts warned last night. The U.S. carrier Carl Vinson arrived in waters near the Korean peninsula yesterday, where it began exercises with the South Korean Navy. U.S. Special Forces assisted South Korean counterparts to deal with the threat of mines and concerns that Kim could flood the peninsula with explosive traps. But the U.S. bombing campaign in Iraq and Syria has left the U.S.'s Pacific Command with a dangerous shortage of ordnance, said its Commander Admiral Harris. Such is the demand that he has to loan large stockpiles of small diameter bombs and air-to-air Sidewinder missiles to Central Command, which oversees the airstrike campaigns in Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan. American forces accounted for 79% of the 24,150 strikes carried out against ICE targets so far this year. Each strike involves multiple bombs, with 32,000 dropped in 1 month alone. It is a level that will be difficult to sustain if the U.S. wants to honor commitments elsewhere. Of particular concern is the lack of precision-guided munitions, which Admiral Harris told Congress are, quote, "absolutely critical to what we're trying to do, not only against North Korea, but also in the fights in the Middle East. We need more." Even before the latest North Korean standoff, U.S. Air Force Chief General Mark Welsh warned we're expending munitions faster than we can replenish them. We need the funding in place to ensure we're prepared for the long fight. This is a critical need. If war does break out with Pyongyang, the U.S. and South Korea will have to hit hard and fast to minimize the risk in Seoul from North Korean artillery bombardments, warned Justin Bronk, combat air specialist for the Royal United Services Institute think tank. Were there to be a war, some regime change effort, given the density of artillery in range of Seoul, the U.S. and South Korea would be throwing everything it had, he said. It will be a conventional large-scale war, and the U.S. would need to draw on most of its arsenal. The U.S. is viewed by allies as having an inexhaustible supply of joint direct attack munitions. But it's been operating far above normal peacetime assumptions for a long time. Now it's getting to a point where it is becoming worried. Boeing, one of two U.S. firms to make precision-guided bombs, is to increase production to 36,500 JDAMS a year from 8,000 in 2015. Let's take a listen to the clip over here.
The thing that keeps me up at night, no doubt, Jake, is the attempt of terrorists to knock down an airplane in flight. There's a number of ways to do that. Obviously, explosives are the way to do it for sure. We're doing the best we can. The good news is we know from various ways that the terrorists respect our, that is to say, United States TSA type operations. They're respected greatly. We're considered to be a hard target. I hope that works. That's a deterrent, hopefully. They're trying. We hear it all the time in the chatter. There's let me say, a few. Some of the chatter is real. Some of it is specific. And in an abundance of caution, we have to date decided to, at best, inconvenience travelers at certain airports on the way to the United States, to inconvenience them by making them put large electronic devices in their checked baggage. They can still bring the devices, of course, but that's in the checked baggage, and I guess they're forced to read a book or a magazine or talk to their kids. I don't know, but I'd rather that inconvenience than a flaming ball of fire coming down at, from 30,000 feet.
And we have another clip here with Tillerson. Time has come to put new pressure on North Korea.
In light of the growing threat, the time has come for all of us to put new pressure on North Korea to abandon its dangerous path. I urge this council to act before North Korea does. We must work together to adopt a new approach and impose increased diplomatic and economic pressures on the North Korean regime. Our goal is not regime change, nor do we desire to threaten the North Korean people or destabilize the Asia-Pacific region. Since 1995, the United States has provided over $1.3 billion in aid to North Korea, and we look forward to resuming our contributions once the DPRK begins to dismantle its nuclear weapons and missile technology programs. We call on countries to suspend or downgrade diplomatic relations with North Korea. North Korea exploits its diplomatic privileges to fund its illicit nuclear and missile technology programs, and constraining its diplomatic activity will cut off a